Hello, everyone, and welcome to Taking Over. I am, of course, your host, OLED Ed Fries, joined, as always, by the lovely, the natural Ash Bizarro. Ashford, how are you doing on this fine evening?
On the countdown for Christmas. It's the final countdown. Is that what you're doing? No.
That's a terrible song.
I know you don't like it.
It's almost as bad as this song.
Regan said she's very afraid of heights. She's scared.
I wonder why.
The world may never know. No, I've always thought that his theme song being the final countdown is the stupidest thing in the world.
Disagree.
I just
disagree.
It's one, it's a bad song in general. Two, it's not a good wrestling theme.
Disagree on all counts.
You did actually make it on time. I was a bit late getting home, so we had to push things back about 10 minutes, but the mini had a choir performance that I could not miss. So I wanted to make sure we did that, and then I had to get food because, of course, these things start at like 6:37, and like I can't eat before these things because then the tummy goes all wibbly wobbly, and that's just bad news. So, but we are here to talk about Uprising Women's Athletes. It is the sister promotion to DREAMWAVE Wrestling. We've been here before in LaSalle. We've been here with this crew. It is the lovely Val Capone doing our ring announcing. Yay, Val Capone. We love you. And then there's Kyle Fields and Zeke Serkey. And again, I think Kyle Fields is a really good commentator. And I said this to Astrid earlier today. I finally remembered the reason why I both love and hate the announcing on this show and on all of the DREAMWAVE and Uprising shows, because Kyle is the one I'm talking about here. Kyle reminds me of early days Don West in TNA, which is both a very good thing and a very bad thing. Because Don West really grew as an announcer through his time working next to Mike Tenay. The thing that made Don so great was he had those chirp-ins, but it took him a long time to get to the point where he was having really good jokes to go through with the commentary. And I feel it's the same with Kyle Fields. Kyle Fields hits more often than he misses with these jokes. But when he misses, it's noticeable and it takes me out of the experience. However, I think he has one of the great professional voices in independent wrestling. Like our guest last week, Chris Lee. Chris Lee's at the top of the list. Mm-hmm. I love me some Pat Matthews and some and Adrian Starr from Chaotic. Don't get me wrong, I love them. But I think Kyle has that old school radio voice. He has that voice that it's always clear. You can always hear what he says. He doesn't under enunciate his words. It's clear word to word to word what he's saying. That's great. It's also problematic when he's making the jokes that he sometimes makes, like a wrestler starting at 15 and talking about how those are Mexican numbers because Mexican and Japanese wrestlers start very young, prompting some people on this show to go, that seems a little off. Is this a good comment to have? But like I said, I really enjoy these shows, and the commentary isn't bad. It's just every now and then there's a moment that takes us out of the equation. The other thing that we need to talk about with the announcing here is, for the love of God, please, the people who run DREAMWAVE, and I know, Val, sometimes you listen to these shows, get them on a higher platform. Get them either one closer to the ring or two on a raised platform where they can see over the crowd and see the ring. Because we're going to get to the Good as Gold Rumble at the end of this show. But that was not the only time that these two men misidentified one of the wrestlers. And I'm not saying misidentified as in pronouns. They did really good with their pronouns this time. Good job. I'm very proud they did good with their pronouns. However, there was a bunch of times where they WWE'd this and Random Blonde just became a random name.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into that right away when we get into Brittnie Brooks taking on Kylie Alexa. I love this match. But you know, it really took me out of it when he said Brittnie Brooks got thrown into the ring post. And I'm like, Kylie Alexa just slapped the ring post. Nobody got thrown into it. What are you talking about, Mr. Kyle? However, this match is sensational. These two women are really up there. And Kylie Alexa is slowly creeping up my chart of women to watch because I don't watch a lot of NWA. If you watch NWA, you know exactly who she is and what her game is. I've been enjoying seeing her in bits and pieces on the shows we're doing to the point where she started a YouTube channel, and I've started checking out every upload she has going up to watch more of these matches because I really enjoy the style that she works. I also thought this was very fun that this was in my millennial or zillennial, time frame here. This was Britney Spears taking on Avril Lavigne, as we have the entrance music of a knockoff Britney Spears from Brittnie Brooks taking on Avril Lavigne's Girlfriend, which is the song that Kylie Alexa comes out to. And no, things that are on the notes of Ashton Pizarro that I normally use. These are things that I know because I know both of these songs because they're on my playlist.
Oh my god, I can't unsee it now.
I mean, that doesn't hurt if they're both Random Blonde.
Oh my gosh. I cannot. I never thought about that one. Dang.
Ashley, what did you think of this match before I go into more about it? What did you think overall? What you got?
I think this was one of the instances that I did like the commentary because they were talking a lot about Kylie Alexa, especially giving a lot of background on her. And I like when they give us some bits and pieces that we usually don't know because I know, like I said, some parts of her here and there from what I've seen in NWA, like clips that I've seen online. But I don't know about her story. And they mention here at some points, like, she was a tag team champion with her sister, which I knew about, but I didn't know how young she was. And so she's only 21. And the way they talk about her and they give us a profile on her, it's like it was a good introduction to her when you're doing this sort of match. Other than that, I like the way that she took control of the match at one point because she kept, especially her and but both of them did, they kept really breaking the count so she can focus on Brittnie's arm. And I like the way she was working as a heel. And I thought it was pretty interesting that she kept focusing on her the way she did. But in the end, I just kept thinking, Brittnie has been here for a while. Is more of a veteran in the Uprising as it is, and has probably more experience than Kylie does. So that's why it made me think of like Brittnie's definitely winning this, especially with this. She's just returning not too long ago compared to Kylie Alexa. But I did like the flatliner from Brittnie here. I think it was very lovely the way she did it. And the Shiny Wizard from Kylie is another one that I really enjoyed. But again, they have really good chemistry. I feel like the match felt very quick, and I would have liked it to last a little bit longer. But either way, for the time they had, they really took advantage of it.
And I liked the creative use of the finish. Kylie Alexa on top of Brittnie Brooks. The ref pulls her off. She gets distracted by the ref. Brittnie hits the "It's Brittnie bitch" finish. It's fantastic. Love it. It's a great way to keep Kylie Alexa as a heel, getting over, being like, I got screwed going into the Good as Gold Rumble later on. It just does all the things it needs to do. I didn't think it was short enough to be like I needed more time. I could have enjoyed another couple more minutes of it, but it definitely didn't. None of these matches got shortchanged in any way because there's not many matches on the show. It's because of the fact that they have a big Rumble coming out at the end of the show. It was really well done like that. I thought this was a really good match to get the crowd up because the crowd loves them some Brittnie Brooks. Oh, absolutely. Banger. Number one banger. Love it. It's fantastic. And the fact that the prettiest prima donna comes out to that song just makes all the sense in the world. And again, it's not technically Britney Spears because Brittnie Brooks has a knockoff version that she's had created for her that she can sell as her theme and entrance music. but it's essentially Britney Spears. All but in name. We're moving on to another great banger theme song. Notorious Mimi's back again. We talked about her a couple weeks ago. She is back, and she is taking on the Curse's Aminah Belmont. And for those of you that missed my Trick or Treat review, Astrid, you will not know about the formation of the Curse. This is a new thing that's happened since the last time some of you have been here. The Curse was formed in the Channing Thomas versus Connor Hopkins match at the last show, Trick or Treat. After Connor Hopkins lost his DREAMWAVE championship to Channing Thomas, they formed a stable then and there with his manager, Damien Deschain, Stephen Wolf, and Aminah Belmont. Now, we've talked to Aminah Belmont, and we've talked about how great it is. Remember, she cut that promo the last time we were here for Uprising. It was a really great promo where she talked about how she would show up at the shows, even if she wasn't on the card, because she just wanted to have the opportunity that maybe they might need her for something, whether it be a run-in, whether it be, you know, just extra talent. She set up the ring, whatever it was, anything she could do to get her foot in the door. And now she is here taking on Notorious Mimi, who is, you know, former NXT star, Sloane Jacobs, former, NXT star Sloane Jacobs. Not that I always forget every time I look at her that she's been in NXT until somebody mentions it. She's also been on AEW, Ring of Honor. It's a lot of fantastic things. They said Aminah Belmont's been on Ring of Honor, so that's good to know. I did not know that. Did you?
No, I had no idea about that one.
I like this match. I thought this was a really good match. I wish we didn't have the Curse at ringside. I really do, because I think that was the only downside, is that commentary continued to harp throughout the entire match, which again, they harp on it during the match because they're given a note. I guarantee they're given a note saying the finish is going to be X. And the finish is that Notorious Mimi goes up on the top rope. She gets distracted by both Stephen Wolf and Damien Deschain. And then that's when Aminah Belmont throws her off of it, hits her finish, gets the win. It's a great match. These girls work really hard. They have enough time. I don't feel like I needed, unlike the opening match, I don't feel like any more time would have done them any good. I think they had just enough time to tell the story that they were telling. Aminah Belmont is a really interesting young talent that I'm interested to see where she goes. She's one of my ones to watch on this one. There's a handful of one to watches that I'm going to talk about during the Good as Gold Rumble. But if you've not seen Aminah Belmont work, you really need to give her an opportunity because she's fantastic. Mimi is going to be a WWE ID Women's Talent at some point in the near future. Honestly, I thought she was winning that. If it wasn't going to be Brittnie, I honestly thought she was going to be the one to win the ID title, because I think she's that one that fits that mold that they want. A little bit more than Laynie Luck. And again, we'll get to Laynie Luck in a little bit because she's on this card. Ashley, what did you think of this second match on the show?
And to point it out, Aminah is also a Black and Brave wrestling student, so we'd love to see it.
Get ready to hear that over and over and over again.
But I feel like, particularly in this match, I feel like Mimi being more like the veteran compared to Aminah, she really showed her out in this match. She gave her so many moments that she was able to highlight her in such a way that I went, oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Like, there's so many points in here. She did kind of like a Black Widow at one point that I really loved. And she did the Sister Abigail, and they pointed out that way in commentary as well. So I was like, when she brought up that, I was like, oh, that was interesting for her to do that as well. And one of my favorite moves was the Styles Clash. And I like how they mentioned it like that as well in commentary. But I think that was one of my favorite moves that she had done through this whole match. But I like the fact that Mimi took more of a backseat in the match and just let Aminah take on the match and take control of it. Like you said, I would have done also without the interference from the guys, because not only usually having one person is already distracting enough. So having three already felt like overboard at that point. And I know that Mimi had some points that she had to basically try to get rid of them towards the beginning of the match. And I think she ended up hitting 2 out of the 3 of them, if I remember correctly. But still, just one person for me is enough. So I would have chosen one of them to come up, but not all three. I feel like that was too much, and that causes a distraction to like take me out from what's on the ringside. Because I'm like, oh, something's gonna happen with the guys because they're at ringside. I can see them getting closer, and I'm not particularly a fan of all of them getting involved in this either, to the point that they had to use the referee to be for the finish to be able to help out Mimi because there's basically 4 against 1. And it's like that just felt like I don't know, it just felt out of place for me. I would have preferred, like I said, just one and maybe Aminah being the other person, not having all 4 of them basically go against her. It's like that part I would have changed a little bit later on. But either way, I like what I see from Aminah. She's a younger talent, so it's nice to see that she's learning, and especially for somebody like Mimi who has a lot of more experience than she does. And you can see that this match is definitely what she needed to get that experience, and I'm glad she did. Muted.
You did it in the pre-show. I do it here. You know, it's a great little match. It does everything it needs to do, and you know, it comes in, it goes. Again, it's also another group with another shitty hand gesture. Because as they're leaving the ring, all 4 of them are doing their shitty claw-like hand gesture for the curse. Apparently, they're cursed with greatness, is apparently what this whole thing is about, and I could fucking care less. Like, I think this is an interesting group. Like, having my bigger problem will, and again, we'll talk about this in a couple of weeks when we talk about Dreamwave, because these guys are on it. But it revolves around the fact of, I don't understand the point of putting 2 top males in the same group together, and you have Connor Hopkins and you have Stephen Wolf. I think that really does a disservice to one or the 2 of them, because it means one of them is going to have to be in that alternative division. And I think Stephen Wolf should be replacing Connor Hopkins as one of the top heels in that top heel promo and the top heel portion of the promotion. But that's not for here nor there, because that's for another week. We are now on to the next match, which is speaking of, the Uprising Alternative Championship, with our lovely Rebecca J. Scott, our one and only Uprising Alternative Champion, taking on Allie Katch. For those of you that don't remember, Allie Katch suffered a horrific injury. And for those squeamish of you, look away, because this is what it looked like as she was taking on Effie. And there's her foot bending the wrong way. Not pretty whatsoever. The injury. Allie Katch is a lovely young lady. I love this match because, again, this is Allie Katch. This is exactly what I want to see from women's wrestling. This is, if I had a quarter for every time Ed accidentally muted. So I mute on purpose. I just forget to unpress it when I'm done. That's the bigger problem. I love this match. I mean, we've raved about Rebecca J. Scott every opportunity we've gotten, whether it was here, whether it was WrestlePro, whether it was, Dreamwave. Every time we talk about the Uprising Alternative Championship, we rave about how fantastic Rebecca J. Scott is. And again, these are two, I mean, Rebecca's a young veteran, but at this point, I'd consider her a veteran. And Allie Katch has been in this game for years. We know who she is. We know what she does. This match is fantastic. It's one of my favorite matches on the entire card. To be honest with you, it's my second favorite match because we'll get to the Rumble, but it's my second favorite match on this card because it's just great professional wrestling. It's just two women going out there and having a fantastic match. I'm surprised that RJS gets another big win because at some point she needs to lose this championship. You would think. Also, somebody sign RJS to a contract. I don't care if it's an ID, if it's an AEW contract or a ROH contract or a WWE NXT contract. Somebody sign this young lady because she's fantastic. And again, not to, debate this whole Ed's actually 87 years old thing, but her coming out to Frank Sinatra warms my old man heart because Fly Me to the Moon is just a fantastic song.
I love the fact that the theme song makes her stand out because who would have thought about wrestler coming out to Frank Sinatra of all people? Never would have thought about it.
Especially a younger lady. Like
Mhm.
if we're talking about like a veteran or an old school or somebody putting on like that kind of gimmick. But she's not portraying any of that.
Yeah, it's always interesting. What I like about this match is like it was something different for me because I'm used to seeing Allie in GCW and having those sort of matches. So to see her having, I want to say a regular match, right? Because we're used to seeing her in hardcore matches. So it definitely felt like something new for me. Something I'm not used to either. So it definitely took a moment for me to like realize like this is the Allie Katch that we're always talking about, having her hardcore matches, and this is just a regular match for her. It feels odd to see. But like you said, I like the way that RJS is in this match, and the way she just focuses on taking down Allie, knowing that Allie catches a lot bigger than she is. So like I like how she focuses in different ways to take her down. So it's always interesting seeing. I feel like RJS is not. She's not a high flight, but I feel like she's quicker than what she was shown in this match, and she slowed it down to be able to take Allie down. And I like the way that she was able to adjust her style because she wants to take down her opponent and retain her title. And I like the way that she did it in this match and the way she slowed down and focused on her legs and went more like a little bit lower than what she usually does when she does her moves, just be able to take her down the way she did. So I feel like she did great in this match, and I love the style change for, I would say, for both of them in a way, because we're Allie, like I said, we're used to the hardcore matches, and this is nothing like that. So I feel like this was different for both of them, and it worked out in the end, and I love how it worked out as well. But I like her having like the submissions and things like that. So that's another thing they really focused on this match. It felt like really like a slow version of what they usually do, but it worked out. And I'm surprised I liked it because I'm not usually the one to really like the slow kind of matches. And I really enjoyed it. But overall, I feel like they had a better chemistry than I thought they would have, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. It wasn't as slow matches and it wasn't plotting, but both of these talents are kind of like a running gun. And again, obviously Allie's going to be a little gun shy. Obviously Allie's not going to go exactly into the other things because she's coming off within the last month or two. She's coming off a devastating injury that she thought may never let her get back into the wrestling world. So even to see her working is one thing, let alone to see her working at such a high level against such a fantastic talent. I love this match. It's my second best match of the night. If you don't know who these women are, and again, this is why women's wrestling is so important, because if you don't know who these women are, you need to see them. And this is why Uprising is such an important thing, because it's great to have 3 or 4 women on your indie show. And that's a lot. Forget it. Just so we're clear, talking about having 3 or 4 on an indie show is, as Astrid and I can attest to, we look for women's matches because that's something Astrid wants. If there are no women's matches on an entire card, it's a whole lot harder to get the show past Astrid to get on the show. So it's very easy to get her to do Uprising because they're all women's matches. So it makes it much easier for Astrid to go, yeah, we can do that.
And I know most of them too, so that helps.
And I always package it like, oh, if we do Uprising, we can do Dreamwave too. Let's just do Dreamwave while we're at it. I love this. I thought it was great. It's a great match. Rebecca J. Scott retains and is still the one and only Dreamwave Uprising Alternative Champion.
Yeah.
We then move on to our WWE ID Women's match, which is the first title defense for Laynie Luck. We know Laynie Luck. We just talked about Laynie Luck a couple weeks ago when she won the title when I was there at that show in and then Cranston, Rhode Island. Here she is taking on a competitor I had never heard of. Never once heard of this young lady's name. I didn't know who she was. I'm a fan of her now. She is my epitome of the one to watch from this entire card. Rachel, I swear I'm not Fallyn Henley Lay. This girl gives me all the Fallyn Henley vibes in the best way possible. Like, the way she works in some of this is so Fallyn Henley. Her character could not be more opposite. She's the princess of perfect, if I remember commentary and
so.
the great Val Capone correctly as she was introducing her. She does an Astrid pose coming out, which I knew immediately endeared her to Astrid. She's obviously a former gymnast or dancer with the way she moves in that ring.
Yeah.
I love this match though. Laynie Luck is so good. You take for granted how good she really is. Like, she's been doing this for a decade. She's been doing this for longer than I've probably been watching independent wrestling. Like, she's really good at what she does. Hello, Mel Ball. Can't wait to talk year-end wrestling with you in a few weeks. That's going to be a whole bunch of fun. But no, I was very surprised by Rachel in this match. I thought she was fantastic. I don't think I saw anything that I didn't like from her. And I'm very excited to see what else she has going on, what other matches she's worked and everything else, because she was sensational. She literally stole the screen from me. And that's hard considering Laynie Luck's on that screen too. And while I don't understand the turnt unicorn and whatever else they talk about with her, I don't get any of that crap. I understand exactly how damn good this woman is in that ring. And she is absolutely sensational. And I thought Rachel brought her game to the level it needed to be to take on Laynie Luck, to make this being the first WWE Women's ID Championship match for Laynie feel like a big deal.
Every time I see the word turns, I end up laughing because I think of you not knowing what it means. But either way, it's pretty funny.
Screw you. No,
it just makes me laugh every time I see it. It's like, Edward Fries does not know what that means, and I don't even know how to explain it either. But it's amazing. But this is the other match that I like the commentary here too, because they also gave us the background on Rachel and Laynie, and I like how they have the contrast with each other. And so as Laynie debuted a decade ago, and Rachel debuted, I think it was earlier this year. So to see the difference of like how somebody like Rachel, who was just debuted this year, doesn't have a lot of experience, to be able to have this kind of match with somebody like Laynie who has such an experience, it was incredible. And I love the fact that for you, she reminded me of Fallyn. She reminded me a lot of Tiffany Stratton with the gymnastics background as well. That's kind of what I pictured when she was wrestling. And I like the way that she came up, and when she started like doing her gymnastics, I went, I was not expecting that from you. I like it. And she kept just going from there, it's like, no, I see you. But I love the fact that it's something that I was not expecting from her. It took me such a surprise. But I loved it at the end, that when she just came up and, like you said, having to put her like to be in a certain level to go against Laynie, and she's able to, like, I wouldn't say have her be that kind of like equal in the match. And this is kind of similar to what happened with Demia and Aminah, the fact that somebody like Laynie helps her to like highlight her during the match, and I have her show the gymnastics background and do so many things in the match that I just went, how does she do that? How does she do that so quickly and so efficient and so accurate? I need to know, and I want to know somehow. I wish I could know. But she also did a code breaker at one point that was beautifully done too. I really love that part of it. But I love the back and forth they have with each other. And again, this is no surprise that Laynie was going to retain it. I was not expecting her to lose it, especially on the first defense, especially to somebody that just started not too long ago. But again, I feel like for this being, I had seen a little bit of Rachel before, but this is the first like official match I see from her. And to see this as the introduction match, I feel like it was a great match to be the first match I watched from her. And I can't wait to see more from her.
Yeah. I can't wait for when we get the ability to take this show and kind of morph it a little bit into not only just reviews, but into interviews too. Because I think that's the next step for us with this in the new year. And this is something I'm springing on Astrid now. But we've talked about this when we talked about this show in general, is that this show isn't only going to be just reviews. The Tuesday night show will probably almost always be reviews. But I think the two of us, after having done the Javi review, the interview, want to do more of things like that, especially showcasing independent wrestling talent. And I think somebody like a Rachel Lay or a Laynie Luck or any of the women on this card, for the most part, would be sensational women to showcase, because it's so great to deep dive into people's resumes and who they are and what they are, and really get into the nitty-gritty of, you know, how they do what they do. We're on to what would be our main event of the evening had it not been for the women's Good as Gold Rumble match. It is the DREAMWAVE Women's Championship match. I thought it was going to be Becca's funeral, but it wasn't Becca's funeral. As Becca, B3CCA, the DREAMWAVE Women's Champion, the pop star that Bobby loves more than any other, takes on, as Kyle Fields accidentally said at one point, the Queen of Hearts. It's the Queen of Spades. The submission magician herself, Shayna Baszler. This was the match when this was the only match announced when I was watching the Trick or Treat show. In October, I messaged Astrid. Mind you, this show took place 2 weeks ago. In October at the Trick or Treat show, I messaged Astrid and go, guess what? In December, we're doing Uprising. This was the only match on the card at that point. And I had already decided we were doing it because I wanted to see this match. I wanted to talk about this match. I'm going to let Astrid talk first because I think I've accidentally talked first on all the rest of the matches since the opening match. Astrid, talk to us about Becca versus Shayna Baszler.
I mean, you mentioned it already. It's like, to begin with, it's like this was really surprising for me because being that Shayna's in this match and I've seen Shayna before, I really thought this was the end for Becca's title reign. I really thought it. And it's like, how,
right at the beginning too. She just won it,
and I thought, how do you hide Shayna in this match and she doesn't win it? That's what was my thought process even before the match even started. It's like, how do you have Becca win over this match? And I like how she went for. There was a one point that Shayna goes over the top rope and she hurts her leg, and the way that Becca comes in, and she's not doing that like comedy gimmick more in this match particularly. She's more serious, which is something that was new for me. That was the first time I seen her that like focused and concentrated, and the way she was so focused on Shayna's leg, and I went, "This is how you get Becca to retain her title." I was like, I couldn't see it when I first saw the card. It was like, how do you have Shayna lose this match? And I was like, this is so interesting. I never would have thought of seeing Becca so serious and so focused on Shayna's leg in such a way. And the way that Shayna was selling it too, it was just chef's kiss. But again, it took me a while for me to think, how does Shayna lose this? Because I couldn't. I feel like there was no, it was like math in any calculation. It just sounded wrong. It really did at that point. But I love how Becca just concentrates on that leg in so many points. And we even have the moment that they're like right here, and then the referee's right in the middle, and she ends up hitting the referee. So we get a new referee on top of it too. And not only do we have the factor of Shayna's leg and what happened, but the fact that Becca comes in, finds some scissors, and she's trying to cut up the turnbuckle as well to be able to use that later. And Shayna goes face first into it later on, and before Becca does her finisher for the win. But again, it just took me a while for me to be able to like convince myself that Shayna was not going to win this match.
I love so much about this match, from Shayna coming out to her normal entrance theme, which shows how good of a level she is with WWE, that she's still using that Shayna Baszler entrance theme. She's also still using the name, which again is hers, so it's not like it's a huge surprise. But so often you hear independent talent have to do something funky, even with their own name, to kind of get out of the WWE umbrella. Shayna's just, it reminds me that Shayna's just so fucking good at what she does. And considering she's an MMA fighter, like, again, not that MMA fighters can't be great wrestlers, but we've seen women MMA fighters come to WWE and kind of suck. Ronda Rousey, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir.
I wouldn't put Marina in there though.
She's gotten better, but she wasn't when she was here in WWE.
Yeah, but she's better now.
Well, yeah, she's better now. Again, I say this many a times. Nikki Bella's often very wrong about a whole lot of things. And there's a comment that she said, look, they came in essentially as a group of four. They all get wrapped together. I love Jessamine Duke. My nerdy heart loves Jessamine Duke as much as many people do. But she could not make the transition at all. No, I thought this was a great match. Shayna's just so damn good. And you're right. The serious, like, Becca comes out doing typical Becca until the bell rings. And that's fine. Becca needs to be Becca. You can't not do the Becca thing. You need to be able to do that. But to see her get that serious, to see her get that involved in this match, and to make it feel like yes, she cheated to win. Yes, she took every shortcut she could to get there. She's a heel. That's all fine and dandy. At the end of the day, while I roll my eyes and go, oh, damn, that sucks, Shayna lost, I get it. I understand it. She came out. She had a really great showing. She put on a show for the fans. And at the end of the day, Becca wins. Becca remains champion. And now at the next show in February, she's going to go ahead and have a championship celebration. Even though she's now defended the title twice, she's going to have a championship celebration. I love this. This was great. This was my match of the night. This was sensational. Because we've got one match left, and there may be many great names in this Women's Good as Gold Rumble match. I will say this thing between the talent in the ring and the commentators on the microphone was an absolute fucking clusterfuck.
I knew you were going to use that word. I knew.
That was the word I used when I watched the show live and sent you that, and I go, "Oh God, this battle royal clusterfuck." Mm-hmm. So, the things we need to understand about this: one, the announcers did not know who people were because they couldn't see, which is, again, we need to get them on a platform where they can see the action or get the monitors. One of the two, but we got to get them something. Because when Kylie Alexa got eliminated, they called her Brittnie Brooks. There were certain people in this match that they were calling, I believe they confused Shazza, McKenzie, and Laynie Luck a few times.
And that's another thing that I don't understand, because if it was the first time, there were some people like Shazza, for example, who they've seen a few times. It's not the first time they see her.
She runs their new training promotion.
But on top of it, I know this match has a mix of, like I told you, what I messaged you, is like this particular match has a mix of newcomers, but also people that have a lot of experience. But at the same time, I feel like for the people in commentary, if they're people that they don't know, but even then, they've mistaken Brittnie Brooks and Kylie. Like, they know Brittnie, but I feel like what the commentary could have done for their benefit as well is to put, let's say, Brittnie comes out and Brittnie has purple gear, to give you an example. Then put purple gear on the notes next to her name, so that way when you see the purple gear, you know that it's Brittnie. And that way you don't mistaken people. Because there's some points that I heard the names and I went, huh, that's not the one. And I went forward and I was like, yeah, that definitely wasn't the one that got eliminated. And I had to kind of ignore commentary doing this at that point. And also another thing I would have done, change the volumes of the thing, because there was points that I wanted to hear the name of the person that Val was saying, but the music was so much louder that you couldn't know who she was talking about. And I had to wait for them to come out so I can organize my notes and know who they were. And I had to go to Cage Match to know the competitors, because I didn't know some of their names, and I couldn't hear Val as she's announcing them too. Right. So it's like there's so many like points here that I would have changed, or even tell them, hey, Brittnie has the Brittnie is Bitch theme song, so whenever you hear this song, it's Brittnie coming out. Like, give them tips so they can know who it is, since they don't have another way to really watch them from the spot they're in. I would have definitely tried to help out in that aspect of it. And I feel like this is the part that I don't like how commentary was going, because not only mistaken people, but they were like, oh, this one got eliminated, and they didn't. And it's like, that's a lot of confusion as it was happening. And I think another big factor to it too, they had at one point, I would say like almost like halfway through the match, that they have so many people in the ring that you can't even concentrate, not only what you're watching, but to concentrate and say, oh, so-and-so got eliminated, so-and-so is doing this, because there's so much going on at once. And I would have tried what they can to eliminate one or two people to make the ring a little bit emptier. And I think those are the couple of things that I would have changed or something for this in the future.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention about this is, I'm going to go over the names in a second of all the people who were in this, because Ashley was gracious enough to write them all down. The other thing is that I guarantee you a lot of these talents were fill-in talents because unfortunately for Uprising, this took place on Lodestone Saturday. For those who don't remember, this is the same weekend that Bayley did her women's wrestling training session with all of those great talents. Talent we've talked about on this show. There's a litany list of that talent that we've talked about, and some of them that we haven't gotten the opportunity that we need to, like a Nikki Blackheart, is on the top of our list of people we need to talk about on this show at some point. Because I need my Rhea Ripley lookalike mama.
My Latina heat. Yes.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of great names there. But we're going to talk about who is in this match. Megan Bayne, Shazza McKenzie, Hollywood Haley J, Sierra, Allie Katch, Laynie Luck, Blair Onyx, Notorious Mimi, Freya the Slaya, Leslie Michelle, Rebecca J. Scott, Brittnie Brooks, Miss Larkan, Haven Harris, Blair and Sage Hale, Airica Demia, Aminah Belmont, Jose Valentine, Tori Fox, Fallyn Gray, Rachel Lay, Izzy B, Regan Lindale, Jade Blackwell, Brody Dull, Davina Thorne, Free Range Kara, Mariai, I believe it is.
Moyari, I think it's it.
Mararia, okay. And then, of course, PMD herself, Kylie. This was a cluster. Everything good had something bad attached. This match started out really good because it started out with Airica Demia and Shazza McKenzie. Two veterans. Airica Demia is young, but she's essentially a veteran at this point. We've seen her a couple times on this show. They know who she is. They know exactly what they can get from her. Not a few entrants later, we get Fallyn Gray, a young talent again, but somebody they know and that they can trust. Too many times in this, though, they had a lot of young talent that didn't have the timing or the chemistry that they needed for the battle royal that they were a part of. I think had I been in charge of running this, I think I would have knocked this down to 20. Especially once you realize that you were going to be losing some bookings from people that you might have been booking. Because again, you didn't lose a ton of talent with the Lodestone women. I don't think there was a ton of those names that were going to be here. But even if you lost 3 or 4, that's more than enough because now you're replacing 3 or 4 veteran women. Because like an Izzy Moreno is somebody who we've seen in an Uprising before. So that's somebody who you probably would have lost on this show because she probably would have been on the show. A Gabby Forza is somebody we've seen in Dreamwave and Uprising before that you can imagine would have been on the show that wasn't available because they were at Lodestone. I did like a lot of the younger talent. Again, we talked about Rachel Lay. I got to see more of her. I thought Izzy B was a very interesting version of Maxine Dupree. Tell me I'm not wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, but that she didn't. And she did all the kind of Maxine Dupree stuff too. I know somebody that must have really stood out to you was, I believe, Josie Valentine or Leslie Michelle. I'm sure probably stood out to you.
Yeah, I hadn't known about Leslie Michelle from before too.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say that was a name I hadn't heard before. I was like, ooh, okay, there's something here. Freya the Slayer was a really big, tall girl. But again, in a match where you have Megan Bayne, I felt like it was kind of an unnecessary thing. Having Free Range Kara, again, another big, tall girl. But again, you've got Megan Bayne. Like, when you have a Megan Bayne in a match like this, you don't want anybody else who does the Megan Bayne thing. I feel like that was kind of a disservice to Megan Bayne for a little bit of this.
But I like that they put them in a spot together too. Like at one point, they had not only that, but they were like in the middle of the ring, so the attention was on them. And I like the back and forth they had with each other at that one point here. Before we move on, I also want to point out that at one point, Izzy also does a DDT to Fallyn too. That's like the one like DDT. I like when she did that by the ropes as well. And this is when we mentioned the Leslie comment where she was saying that she's been wrestling since she was 15 and she's 21, and they said the Mexican numbers line that this was around this time. I think there was a one point that not only that Freya and Megan were facing off, but there was somebody else too that was really tall that was facing off around the same time too.
Free Range Kara, I think.
But I like the fact that even though they, like you said, they have like almost like Megan Bayne type of thing because they're tall and big like that. But I like the fact that they all look unique at the same time, and that you can point out who's who, even though they may have similar styles.
Yeah, no. And again, I'm not going to harp on this one because I was asked not to, but there was a great spot where the therapist, Miss Larkan, and Blair Onyx had this really cool like sit down slap fight that I really enjoyed. I thought that was really great in here. Again, Blair Onyx is one of my pet favorites. I adore Blair Onyx matches. I seek them out here and there when I get the opportunity because I think she's got such an interesting character that doesn't fit in a lot of promotions. We've talked about her with this exact show on an Uprising show when she teamed with Abaddon. I love me some Blair Onyx. So having that little spot with a character who has like a therapy gimmick going along with a character who has obvious mental issues, I thought was a really cool, fun thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, you do the thing that seems obvious, and I thought it really worked out well. But again, my stars of this match are pretty easy. It's Megan Bayne, it's Shazza McKenzie, it's Airica Demia. Poor Airica Demia, I felt like almost lost a fucking leg at the end of this match. So at the very, I'm going to skip to the very end. Megan Bayne's about to win. She's trying to dump out. There's two people left plus Megan Bayne. One of them is Airica Demia, and I believe the other one was Fallyn Gray. I believe that was our final three, if I remember correctly.
Wait, I go back. Sorry, you said the last three?
Yeah, Megan, Fallyn, and Airica, right?
I believe so. I think I had it at one point.
Because Megan Bayne wins by throwing one of them on top of a huge pile of women, and I'm almost certain that was Fallyn Gray that she threw.
Yeah, because it was the last one there.
But into getting to that spot, she's trying to clothesline Airica Demia over the top rope, and somehow poor Airica gets her foot caught in the ropes, and she's just dangling there with that foot in the ropes. And I'm like, oh no, I've seen this before. This is not good, not pretty. And you've got Megan trying to pull the ropes open, and Fallon's just in the corner because she knows that's not her spot, so she's got to just stay out of it. And these poor refs are unfortunately useless in this situation.
And another thing that really annoyed me, and I don't know if it was power for character, whatever it was, but I didn't like it whatsoever. Haley J, oh my god! Whenever she came in and she went to throw out people, and she would like throw them over the top, and then they bounce back, and she would like almost like kind of like celebrate thinking she eliminated them, but she didn't. And she did it not once, but like I think 5 or 6 times at that point. I was already tired of her doing this. It was like, oh, I'm going for this person, and they kind of like does this, and then they don't fall out, so they're still inside the ring. So I was like, what was the point of you doing that? You did it like all in a row on top of it. There was no like breaks in between them either, so it really stood out.
So this is fun because this can tell you the difference of a character that has on you, because this spot was done in the Royal Rumble just last year. This was literally done in the Royal Rumble last year. I've not seen enough Hollywood Haley J. This wasn't a great first impression of me of her character. That with the sock with the weapon in it didn't really get over with me.
I saw her in person too, and I stayed away.
Anyways, the one thing I will say is that this exact spot was done to perfection by Chelsea Green in the Royal Rumble this past year, because she threw 4 women over the top rope and they all landed on the apron and then came back and attacked her. And they basically did that same spot, but she did it 6 times with 6 different people. And none of them, she literally did it to every person in the ring, and then they all came in and attacked her. And the spot just didn't work. It didn't work.
And the other part too, that remember how we're talking about the twins? The twins are back on this card. And even them at the beginning, even on their Twitter, I know they make it like a joke on their Twitter. But even on commentary, when they get there, like, oh, the Hill twins are here. We didn't know which one is supposed to be coming out now. So I was like, oh, which one it is? That one is coming out now. And then the other, and he's like, oh, okay, we got confirmation it was this one first. So that means the other one's coming out later. But even commentary says like they don't know who it is. And they have different gear colors too. The gear was similar in style, but different colors. And I'm like, I know they're twins. And even I'm trying to find the difference between them, but I haven't seen them long enough to figure it out yet.
Yeah, because they weren't in this long.
No, and I'm like at one point, like it happened to me with like the Olsen twins. Once I see them long enough, I know which one's which. The Usos, same thing, and at this point, they don't even look alike anymore. So that helps me. But with the twins, you don't even see them long enough to be able to like put the difference into who's who, and then commentary doesn't help you either. So like, oh, we think it's this one. Okay, so we got confirmation it's this one, so it has to be the other one. And I'm like, how did you not know the people in the match though? And like, I wish I would have told them beforehand, at least the order of the people they were going with, because I think that would have been helpful in the match. I'm trying to find the order that I have from them here, if I could find it. Oh, they said
I
think
think
it was
Briar's the first, and then
yeah.
Sage is the second. I'm almost certain.
Yeah, so it's like instead of just saying, "Oh, we think this one's Briar for sure," they don't even sound like they're confident about it. Like it could be Briar, it could be Sage. I know when you're trying to follow them, like I want to follow them in the ring. So in my mind, if you tell me this one's wearing this, and I had it in my notes here, and then when they pointed it out, and I put it here, Sage, black and blue, and she comes in a little bit later. So that's how in my notes I automatically had the black and blue. So if I see her in the ring, I automatically know it's Sage because it was mentioned at least once. But even I don't know if it's supposed to be like a jokey thing that they have within the promotion, but I feel like you need to do a little bit better about showing off who they are. Exactly. I feel like they could have done a rundown of the entrances. Unless something changed last minute, then they should have had at least the order of the people that were coming out, just not the order of the eliminations, though. But that's another thing that like really like the way they did it. I was like, "Are you serious? Like you don't even know which one's which, and you work with them." Um, I like the fact that they had like a lot of the people that have a lot of experience more towards the end of the match, because you said we had the Brittnie, we had the Airica, Demia, and we had the Megan Bayne, for example. And those were the people that mostly had a lot of experience. I think Fallyn is the only one I think that was the youngest one out of the ones that were left. But again, it's something that I pointed out to you while watching the match. Is like I was not expecting this match to be the best one on the card. Like the way it was set up, because a lot of these girls were like, let's say for example, out of 3 rookies, there was 1 veteran. So it's like there wasn't a whole lot of balance. So obviously the veterans have to try to do their best to do what they can to help out the younger stars. Some of them do have, I don't want to say enough experience, but they know well enough what to do. But some of them I need a little bit more direction in that aspect of it. But that's why I mentioned to you, like that's the only thing that I had to keep in mind thinking about. Is like a lot of these girls are still like they're still just learning how to wrestle. They have maybe a year or 2 of experience here, and a lot of them, like they mentioned in commentary, I forgot which one's the other one. They're also Black and Brave students as well. So it's like they're just trying to get the hang of it. So I was like, I'm glad that at least they have people like the Brittnie Brooks and the Airica Demians and the Shazza McKenzie and then the Lady Lucks and the RJS that can balance it out and help out in the end, and like the Megan Baynes to balance this out the way it ends. But like you said, it was like there was some moments that I was like, what just happened? But I can see people like Brittnie in the corner that was having a lot of fun in the corner with the crowd there every time that she could. So I like that she was enjoying her time while she was in the ring as well. So I thought that was pretty fun. But
like I said, this isn't a bad match. It's just that
it's structured.
I think
awkward.
They spaced out the veterans a little too much, and they had a lot of big chunks of rookies. And again, like we're not crapping on this. Like overall, this is better than most wrestling shows you'll ever see. Like let's be honest with you. And again, the commentary issues, it's tough because again, I've seen where their commentary booth is. It's a ways away from the ring, and it's on the same level as the crowd. So if they don't have cameras, and it's not like they're filming this to go over and do commentary later. Like this is a streamed live show. So they have some kind of a desk with some TVs and stuff to show you what the cameras are seeing. You should be able to help get commentary over with this. Like I said, this is a great promotion. I love Uprising. I love DREAMWAVE. It's when I get the chance to start traveling for wrestling shows, this is one of those ones that I like. It's on my list of places I want to go and travel to. I'm already planning a summer trip to North Carolina to go see Ashe wrestling. Like I've talked about it with my girlfriend. We're gonna take some time off. It's gonna be like a Thursday to like a Monday, and we're gonna drive from Boston all the way down to Charlotte. We're gonna go see an Ashe show. We're gonna hopefully meet Astrid, because hopefully Astrid's gonna make the short trip up from Florida.
Is it short?
To come visit. It's a hell of a lot shorter than my trip from Boston, let me tell you. It's a hell of a lot shorter than mine.
8 hours, I think it was, more or less.
Mine's 14. Depending where in Charlotte, it's 14 or more.
Depending where, yeah.
But no, LaSalle, Illinois is absolutely on my list of places to go. I want to meet the great Val Capone. I want to see a lot of these talents, and they always seem to have great talent on these shows. Speaking of great shows, we're going to finally talk about a promotion that's been near and dear to our hearts. Because if he were here doing this more often, he wouldn't be on NXT more often. We're going to Texas, Astrid. Reality or wrestling? We're going down to Texas. We're going to be talking the 2025 Sherry Martel Classic, which includes Maya World taking on Lyndon Dior, NXT's Tyra May Steele taking on Calientia, Rache Chanel taking on McKenzie. No other name, just McKenzie. Mandy Wild taking on the NWA's Tiffany Nieves, who I believe is their television champion, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the right belt. We have Gigi Ray taking on Misty Marks. And the other half of the Money Birds tag team, Monica Monroe, not Blake Monroe, Booker. This is the Monroe. This is the Monroe that you have in your promotion, Booker. Monica Monroe taking on Kalia Capri. And so the way this tournament breaks down is it's going to be 6 singles matches, 1 in the red bracket, 1 in the blue bracket, 3 matches each. And then they're going to have a triple threat match after that. And the people who win both triple threat matches will go into a singles match. And the winner will become the Sherry Martel Classic winner. This tournament last year was won by the great Gigi Ray. We love Gigi Ray here. Good Canadian. It's a good Canadian. We like Gigi Ray.
Astrid as guest. Yay.
Yes, past. If you haven't seen it, go back on Astrid's YouTube channel to go ahead and watch that. But that's what we've got coming up next week. The week after that, we're going to be covering Dreamwave Good as Gold, the men's version of the show. So we got a bunch of men's matches on that show with a couple of ladies matches, I believe, sprinkled in there. But it's mostly going to be some men's matches, including a first blood match between Channing Thomas and what's his name? We just talked about him in the beginning of the show, and I can't remember his name. It's not Stephen Wolf. It's the other guy in the group. The one that Channing's been feuding with. He was Connor Hopkins. Yeah, Connor Hopkins. So that'll be a fun match to watch. I haven't seen that show yet, so that'll be great. And then we got one more show to round of the year, but we're going to keep that to ourselves for now because we got one show ready to go for the end of the year. But yeah, this has been a bunch of fun. I love talking Uprising. And again, if you want to follow them, please do Uprising_Women on Twitter. And if you want to watch them on YouTube, it's Dreamwave Wrestling. If you want to see any of their shows, please go to IWTV and go ahead and check them out. I just got my renewal thing this week, so I know it is in Massachusetts. It's $11.68 with tax because that's what I just got charged for this. So you can go ahead and check out all of their shows, all of the Dreamwave shows, and all of the other wonderful shows, like the Beyond Wrestling stuff that we cover, as they've got Heavy Lies the Crown coming up in a few weeks, a whole bunch of good stuff coming up there. So that might be a place we have to go back to, Astrid, Beyond Wrestling. They did great numbers for us last time we were there, so maybe we got to go back. Yeah. But, Astrid, tell the good people where they can find you.
You can find me my Twitter and Blue Skies Astrid Pizarro, my Instagram and Threads Astrid Pizarro 20. I've been doing a lot more about book stuff, so if you like book stuff, you can find me in Book Lovers Book Reviews on TikTok and Instagram. I don't talk about it often, but I should. Other than that, if you're on my YouTube channel, you can hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on the video. I mean, we always mention it, but let us know in the comments if you have any other promotions you would like us to check out for 2026 that we haven't talked about yet. And what else? Oh, we're really close. I think we're to get monetized. So I think I forgot how much we need, but it's very little right now. So anytime that you can, keep us in the background, a playlist, something to help us out.
Less than 100 watch hours right now we are sitting at monetization. You can, of course, find me at all the usual places down here. But I want to go ahead and shout out. We're getting to the end of the year. I want to go shout out some friends of the channel that we've had on the channel in the past that do great things. whether it be last week's guest, Chris Lee. Go ahead and check him out on Instagram at Chris Lee. He talked about all the fun stuff he's got going on, that he's got 2 documentaries out that you can go ahead and take a watch. One of them's up for an Emmy, I believe. We've, of course, got Peggy, the empress of our local establishment and the host of Marvel Talk. We got her, so you can go ahead and check out her stuff on The Hive and all the stuff on their Substack. She also does the weekly watch-alongs with Jamie, which are fantastic for the AEW watch-along. So if you're going to watch AEW, please watch it with them. They are hysterical. It's the only way I watch AEW. You saw him in the intro, but Grainmaker. Go ahead and check out the Grainmaker podcast over there. Blair is a fantastic friend of the channel who we love, who does all kinds of independent wrestling stuff for himself. So go ahead and check out Grainmaker Pod. You saw him at Saturday night's main event, Mr. Santi Zap. You can go ahead and check out all that content. He's got all kinds of great stuff going on over there. Santana has done Marvel Talk and NXT stuff with us this year. You can go ahead and check out her stuff at Heeltastic. I believe she's still doing some stuff. I think I saw something park up the other day. Friends of the channels who do all kinds of great things that you should always be checking out. It's Ella J, or A Wrestling Gal podcast. And then Jose on the Air does fantastic stuff. We love both of them. And of course, our local establishment. If you haven't watched them, you should be watching them. Also, Blue. I almost forgot about Blue. We can't forget about Blue. Brainbuster Battle Royal, the second best trivia show on the internet that involves with wrestling, as behind ours, which will be this Thursday night, where Bobby Munson decides to screw me once again in trivia, because that's what Bobby Munson likes to do in the trivia stuff. But until next week, I have been OLED Ed Fries. This has been Ashley Bizarro. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
I am in misery.